Hello and welcome to this edition of the State of Soy. I'm your host, Aaron Putsey. We're at the Innovation to Profit Conference, and I'm visiting with Matt Erickson of Farm Credit Services of America. Matt is the Ag Economic and Policy Advisor for Farm Credit. Matt, there's a lot of, I think there's a lot of interest, a lot of momentum building behind getting into the field and getting this crop planted. What do you think right now is first and foremost on the minds of farmers from a headline as you look at the landscape as we get ready to plant a crop here in 2022?
Yeah, I think more from a micro level, more of an agricultural level. I think first and foremost is, making sure that we monitor the supply and demand fundamentals that are out there. And what I mean by that is looking at, the South America drought situation. You look at Brazil, Argentina, they're on their second consecutive year of drought. And it begs the question of will this La Nina pattern keep on going there in Brazil and Argentina? So that's first and foremost is monitoring that market. Second, what's coming up is a big March prospective plantings report and what producers are intending to plant for the upcoming year. And so that'll be a big indication of how markets will move here for the 2022 year. But probably a bigger issue is looking at the general macroeconomy. And a lot of news, a lot of volatility within the market is surrounding this talk about interest rate increases and what the Federal Reserve is going to do with some of those rate increases. So a lot going on. That also ties into the jobs picture. We're in a relatively good unemployment rate situation, healthy jobs market. So how does that relate back to some of these interest rate increases? And so that's something that we're going to monitor here in the future. We don't know that answer, but we've got the markets can give us some detail into some of that.
So an Iowa Soybean Association delegation recently traveled to Brazil, hearing that in far southern Brazil, some real yield reductions because of the drought. Mato Grosso, not so much, a decent crop, actually maybe a little bit better crop than was expected. When do we get a sense for what those final numbers are out of Brazil? When do you feel confident that the market has a handle on what production is?
So soybeans we're going to know a little bit beforehand because Brazil, on the corn side of things, they've got multiple crops that they harvest for corn. So you look at soybeans, USDA's pulled back some of the production levels for Brazil, but you got to keep in mind when you look at the Brazilian numbers and the production that they have for this soybean crop, yes, USDA's reduced it, but Brazil's still expected to have a pretty large crop on the soybean side. And so southern Brazil is getting hammered by drought. But I think right now when you look at the winter time in the season, yes, farmers are looking at getting ready for the planting season, making some of these decisions, looking at markets in terms of what they're going to plant. But right now I think we're really monitoring the Brazil and the South America situation, and that's going to lead to a lot of price fluctuations here this spring and even in the summer.
Lastly, as you kind of look at the landscape and as farmers need a lot of product when they go to the field to plant, are you hearing as much about supply issues as perhaps we were, or concerns there as maybe we were 2, 3, 4 months ago?
I think it's getting better, but I pull ourselves back here a little bit and I look, we're getting hit by the inflation bug, and it's not just here in the U.S., but it's globally. And the CPI, the Consumer Price Index numbers came out, and we've got the largest year-over-year inflation since 1982. I think when you look at the supply chain issue, it's going to fix itself out. It's just when. The Fed's going to take a little bit of a cautiously aggressive approach to some of these interest rate increases because, interest rates have been low. We're going to put that into perspective. Again, we're not even talking anywhere close to a 1980s picture, but some of these interest rate hikes and how to manage some of those things, that's what's going to be on farmers' mind here in 2022 and 2023.
Well, a lot to talk about in the economic picture for agriculture, for soybean production as we head into a growing season, which we know, Matt, that growing season is going to be here before we know it. Reporting from the Innovation to Profit Conference for the Iowa Soybean Association, I'm Aaron Putsey.
Progress is a human invention. We look at our world and we imagine how to make it better. That's the power of human ingenuity. We can redefine what's possible. At Bayer, we're shaping the future of agriculture. Like farms where all life grows together. It's not impossible, it's progress.